Hi, Stewart. I read through the website and I think I understand the process of consigning. I have a 67 Pontiac Catalina that's not perfect, more of a driver. 2 questions. Does Classic Auto Mall provide a detail service to help clean the car? And 2, does the mall help me determine the asking price? Any other information about consignment process that you can provide would be appreciated. Thanks, Robert F. from New Paltz, New York, up in the Hudson Valley.
Oh, the Hudson Valley, yeah. We had somebody from the Hudson Valley on the show. Tom, yeah?
Oh, we did. That's right.
That's right.
Hudson, New York.
Valley,
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
Maybe it's him. Maybe he's trying to trick us out. He's faking
They didn't
us
learn
out.
enough from the interview.
Yeah, so let me ask a question that will, hey, and you ought to go see Tom. Will be the end result of all this. The short answer is yes and yes.
Okay, excellent. Moving on.
But, you know, it does. I got an email the other day. It was very similar to that. And I thought, you know, since we're doing a show just me and you, we're not going to have a guest this week. It'd be a great time to dive into the consignment process.
Okay.
Overall.
Yeah,
really.
sure.
Because I think that, you know, there's a lot of people that don't understand how consignment works. They don't understand the percentages. They don't understand when you say net to seller. So our whole consignment process, now get ready, folks, this is going to be a minute. Our whole consignment process, bring your car, and then we call you and you come pick up a check.
Perfect.
You make two visits to the mall, right?
2 visits to the mall if you want, and you just go, hello? You have a check for me? Oh, cool.
I'll be right there.
I'll be right there. Yeah, some people are like, we haven't even hung up, and the guy's like, Bob's here.
That screeching noise.
Yeah, what was that? Bob is here, and he's ready for his check. So our consignment process generally works like this. We get a call or an email from somebody who has a car they'd like to sell. Now, what kind of cars do we take here? Generally, it's classic, collector, special interest, high performance, muscle cars that have some significance. We tend not to take cars that are, you know, a 2019 Camry with 40,000 miles on it in white with gray cloth interior. It's probably not a car that we would take unless there was some celebrity provenance to the car or it was used in a movie and had some significance. But generally speaking, people say, well, how do you determine what's a collector car and what isn't?
Yeah, and would you discourage somebody with that type of car?
Yeah, it depends on the car and it depends on a lot of factors. But a lot of times we do discourage people because it's just not the right venue for what they have, or our commission structure is such that it's not cost effective for them to sell it through us. I mean, the success of our consignment program is for anybody on the planet, go put something on Facebook Marketplace and then call me back in a week and let me know how that went for you.
True.
Because it didn't go very well 99.9% of the time, right? So our process is that you either send us an email or contact us by telephone or see us out at a show or one of the events that we do. And, you know, basically what we want to know is as much as you can tell us about your car. What's the condition? What's the history? You know, so many people don't have a lot of detail about their car. You'll ask them about their car and the only information they have, well, it's red and has a 4-speed. And that's not enough information because the more we know, the better chance we have to sell the car and the better chance we have to sell the car for more money. And so the process is we talk it over with you. We determine, and as to the question from Bill up in wherever the heck he was.
It was New Paltz.
Is that we help determine value of a car. We sell a lot of cars. We have a database that is, you know, thousands and thousands of cars we've sold. Plus, we have a lot of resources that the general consumer doesn't have to find out pricing on cars and what things are selling for and that type of thing. Kind of like if you're familiar with the dealer auction side, Manheim has a thing called Manheim Market Report, and it tells you what cars are selling for at wholesale auctions. And that's a good barometer of what something's worth. And some of our cars actually fit into that category. But there's important things about a consignment to know. What's the background and the history of the car? Does it have a clear title? Is it a reconstructed title? Is it a title from, you know, some state that doesn't do a reciprocal year on the title? They just leave it blank, which is strange. And most importantly, and the thing you need to do before you even pick up the phone and call us or come see us or see us at a show is take your title physically out to your car and look at that where the VIN number is, which is on a later model cars, 80s and newer, is on the dash. And sometimes it's on the door, sometimes it's on the door post, sometimes it's on the firewall, sometimes it's on the frame on some of the older cars, sometimes it's the engine number. But check that because I can tell you that 1 out of probably 15 cars that we consign, the title's wrong.
Wow.
Think about that.
That's a lot.
And I don't understand how it's slipping through the cracks at these DMVs, because any DMV, when you're titling a car, ought to require that you have a picture of the VIN number. And it was a VIN number from 81 till now. Prior to that, it was just a serial number, which is a different animal. A VIN number is a special dedicated number that every number and letter means something.
That's right.
Some of the ones before were just kind of random numbers and serial numbers and that kind of thing. It didn't really
sequential.
have any, they just really didn't have much meaning as far as telling you what size the engine or any of that is. So the program is that we'll talk to you about price. Now, it's your car. As long as you're not so far out of whack that there's just no chance in selling it ever at that price, then we're going to try it at your price. So we go through with you and we tell you what previous ones have sold for, but we work with you. The more we sell the car for, the more we make. So we want to sell it for as much as possible. And so once we kind of light on a price and we think that it's something that makes, and be honest about your car on the telephone or via email. Don't tell us that it's a show car and 100% perfect and it gets here and it's got rust bubbles and Bondo in it and all that, which is fine. And we can sell a car like that. But you've put us in a position where we've made an analysis on kumquats versus apples. Mm-hmm. And kumquats and apples are two different things. Absolutely. If you don't know the difference. I don't know that. I don't even know what a kumquat is.
Yeah, you're driving a kumquat, and it's not good.
So be honest about your car, because when we sell a car, we are brutally honest about what it is. There are rust holes in it. We're going to show a picture of it. If there's frame damage, we're going to show a picture of it. If there's a knock in the rear end, we can't show a picture of it, but we can tell you about it.
Sure can.
We're going to tell you, we're going to disclose everything that we know about the car. And that may be a whole lot of information, and it may be a very minute amount of information. So once we've made the determination that we're in the ballpark on price, maybe a little high, but time will kind of fix that. Then the next thing we ask you to do is we'll send you the paperwork, and it's about 7 pages. It's not nothing. There's some stuff to fill out, but it's pretty, just fill in the blanks. And then once you do that, then we make arrangements for you to have the car brought in, or we'll make arrangements to have it shipped in if you don't have the resources to do that, or a neighbor who can help you do that, or you can drive it in for that matter. And then once it gets here, we'll do a walk around with you. We'll check that VIN number against the title. We'll check the mileage. We'll check to make sure that everything is what it's supposed to be. And we'll also look at it and see if it needs some kind of cleaning or detailing. And if it does, we have an on-site detailer, Mike Gramata, who does a fantastic job for us. And understand that our detailing is not a profit center for us. It is strictly a service to our clients. It's something that says, we know you got to get your car from point A to point to here, and it's going to get dirty on the way, especially if it comes through some rain, or if it's on the back of a trailer that's open or whatever. So we can obviously clean that car up for you, and we charge a nominal fee for it. I think it's very fair what we charge. Absolutely. I think the most we've ever charged is $100, and that was probably for just about everything you could possibly do to
engine, interior, trunk,
everything, the whole thing. And most cars come in pretty clean.
They do,
because they're garage, they're not driven every day. They're show cars. So very rarely, they might just need a wipe down or a spiff, as we call it. There's no charge for that. So once we get your car in, we go through all the paperwork. We make sure you got proper insurance and all the different things that you have, because we do require you to maintain insurance on your car while it's here on consignment. And we do that for a number of reasons, but first and foremost, because it's a Pennsylvania law. Pennsylvania law requires you as a consignment dealer that the consignor or consignee, the person who is consigning their car with you, maintain insurance on the car, maintain a registration, maintain a current plate. And that's because if you were to test drive, which we don't do very often, but if you were to test drive a car, a consignment car cannot be test driven on a dealer plate. Now, if we own the inventory, that's what a dealer plate is mostly for, is to put it on the back of a car and go test drive it. Right. Or to take it down to the shop to get it fixed if something you can't fix at home or at your place of business. So we can't put a dealer tag to test drive your car. It has to be test driven on the owner's tag. And so, little tweaks and things that people may not know about, and each state is different. That just happens to be Pennsylvania's law. So we get it here. We go through the whole process. Then the next question is, well, how long does it take for my car to go live? Well, depends. If we're around right now, when we're taking in 8 or 10 or 15 a week, then it's within about 10 days.
Yeah.
In October, when everybody's storing up their nuts for the winter, it may take 3 weeks. And our contract or agreement with our consigners is 120 days or 4 months. And it used to be 90 days. And the reason we changed it from 90 days to 120 days is because there are some times that we don't get your car on until about 2 or 3 weeks into the process. So it's not fair to do a 90-day agreement, and then now you really only have about 65 days left.
Right.
So we said, okay, let's change that to 4 months. So there's no fees for the first 4 months. There's no upfront fee and there's no monthly fee. You can lower the price anytime during that process, and that's great. And if it hadn't sold within, usually within the first 45 days, it's pretty much going to be because it's price. But you're welcome to leave it at that same price. When we get to day 120, you're going to get a phone call from a lovely young lady who's going to say, hey, Bill, your car has been here for 4 months. It's time for your $100 a month floor fee. So now, when your car hits the 4-month anniversary, we're going to call you. And every month after that, we're going to call you. And it's $100 to keep your car here. Why do we do that?
Why? That's a good question.
I'm going to segue into you. We do that because most of the time, the reason that a car hadn't sold is it's overpriced. And that's the one thing we really can't control because it's your asset, it's your car, and it's your ability to set the price. But if you're going to set the price to a point where nobody's going to buy it, then we've got to start charging $100 a month after the 4th month. Because if we don't do that, we have cars that have been here for a couple of years.
Yes.
Because they were overpriced and we didn't have a policy in place to do that. And we were happy to fill the building. We wanted a proof of concept. We wanted to see if we could get 1,000 cars in the building. And we went racing past that, went to 1,200
That's right.
at one point in time, which was too many. So after the 4th month, you pay $100 a month. And the reason we charge that is because we pay our rent factor to our landlord is $200 a month per car. So we're asking you just to participate, just to half participate in paying the floor fee that we have to pay for the car. And we'll give you the 4 months for free, which is, out of pocket for us, $800 plus the photographer, plus the description writer, who's a fantastic guy, plus all the cost it put it out on all these advertising sites. If you advertised everywhere we did and did everything that we do for your car, you'd spend, if you were doing it as an individual, you'd spend probably $3,500 to $4,000.
That's right.
And there's no guarantee that your car would sell by doing that. And if you wanted to store your car somewhere, and you had a higher price on it, and maybe you're just kind of looking for storage, storage is $175 a month minimum.
Easily.
I mean, there are places in Florida. I bought a car from a guy down in Florida, and he had it at the storage place in Delray or Deerfield Beach or one of those down there near Fort Lauderdale area. It was $675 a month.
Yeah. Well, now there's all these clubs too. With you got the bar and the business office and
the lift and kind of the social area. They have couches.
Those
and
are $350 minimum.
Minimum. So listen, we're happy to keep your car and to continue to try to sell it, but you just gotta you gotta get some skin in the game with us once we get to 4 months, because 4 months is more than fair. That's a long time to have your car out there. It's seen by millions of people. If you count what our website gets, 1.5 million visitors a month. Our Hemmings listings get over 2.5 million visitors a month. Our eBay listings get probably 10 million views a month. Classic.com, one of our new partners that we're doing business with, and these are just our numbers, get between 3 and 4 million views a month. I mean, you start adding it up, it's probably 50, 60 million.
Amazing.
Of people that are seeing our inventory on a daily basis. So if the car hasn't sold, it's either something so unique that there's a very, very, very limited market to it, and we just haven't found that right person. But most of the time, it's because of the price. because it's priced at a point that people are just going to not stop or not even jump in and make an offer.
Right.
So.
Exactly.
And if I know some people might go, well, I want to go back to leaving their license plate and their insurance on. They might go, well, I don't want somebody taking my car out and driving it around. You don't take it home every night, take a different one every night and drive it home and try it out, do you?
Yeah, I do.
No.
No. We all do.
Yeah, we all do.
We just pick one.
That's the perk. I'll take the green one. No, we don't. And most of the time on a test drive, we actually just drive the other person around, and we don't even leave the parking lot. So we really don't even need.
Yeah. How many acres is it?
40 acres, and the parking lot is like 25 acres of asphalt. Asphalt.
Yeah.
Asphalt.
New Paltz.
Can't talk no more. And so we generally don't even leave the parking lot. So we really don't have to have them registered, but it is a Pennsylvania law. So,
But people should know that test drives are limited to once you've basically there's a deal in process.
A serious buyer.
Yeah, sign the agreement. You put down a refundable, mostly refundable deposit, and we have come to terms. And if it's everything we say it is, this is what I'm going to pay for. Now, if something rears its head during the drive that we didn't talk about, then obviously there is room for negotiation there, just like anything. Yeah. So the process is that once we find a buyer for your car and we go through all that we just said, we ask them to put a deposit down. We'll call you if the offer is a little less than what you were asking for, but we'll call you with the caveat that it is an offer. We don't have the money in the bank. Don't go buy a new boat. You're so excited because we've got your car sold. We don't have your car sold. We have an offer. We don't have clear funds in the bank, and clear funds are one of four things. Clear funds of the bank are you bring us a basket full of cash and we go down to the bank and deposit it. Now you have clear funds and the vehicle can be released. The next one is you do a wire transfer. It's the cleanest, best, easiest, safest way to do it. You go to your bank, you give them our wiring instructions, they send us whatever the number is. We call you and say, we've received your wire transfer, now we're ready to move forward. Now, when you buy a car from us, understand that we don't call the seller to say that the deal is done until we have clear funds. Even if you say, hey, I'm coming in Saturday and I'm bringing cash and I'm buying that car. Well, we don't call the seller and say, hey, we got your car sold. Bring us your title. Be here on Saturday. The guy's coming. Because guess what happens? Guy doesn't come. Guy doesn't show up.
That's right.
And it doesn't happen often, but it happens often enough that we're not going to jump the gun. The second or the third option is that you can write a check or have a cashier's check or a money order, any of that. But understand that those all take 5 business days to clear. And the reason is because, believe it or not, cashier's checks are not what, all the old school guys are like, well, cashier's checks, them things as good as gold.
That's
I
right.
go, well, they used to be until modern printers and modern this and scams and gosh, it's a pitfall area. So you might as well just write a personal check or a business check because it will take just as long for a cashier's check as it will for your personal or business check. Once that clears, then we call the seller and we say, we have clear funds. We have a check from Classic Auto Mall for you. And all we need you to do is bring us the title because 99.999% of the time, we want the customer, the seller, to keep the title. That's their protection. That, if we have the title and the car and we sell the car and we flit off to Jamaica, then they're in a rock and a hard place. So we want you to keep the title. Not that we're not trustworthy or that we're going to do anything untoward, but it's just to give you a peace of mind that, hey, I've got the title, they've got the car. They can't sell the car without this.
But you have a copy of the title because you've seen it.
We've seen it. We've verified that there's no problems with it. And, of course, every state is different. And it's one of those things that we, dare I say it, wish the government would get more involved with. Oh, no. Don't. And that's because there are so many anomalies to each area. So, like in North Carolina, a title, they have a thing called a reassignment form, and it's a form that's separate piece of paper from the title that you can assign it to the new owner. And if it's a dealer, it can keep being reassigned hundreds of times if it needs to be. Pennsylvania doesn't have reassignment forms. So if you fill a title, then you can't go any further reassigning it to people. And that's a little more technical than people need to really know. But just understand that each state's different. In New Jersey, if it's a hot rod or a kit car, they don't put a year in the year on the title. which, send that to California and don't expect getting a phone call on that. They're like, we can't, there's no year here. Well, that's New Jersey's rule. And so, and Pennsylvania does that as well too, I think. And so,
and how does that get resolved?
I don't know. We have a form that we send from the state of Pennsylvania that says Pennsylvania does not put a year on this. And I would imagine that a state like California or Texas or Florida probably does put in a state put in a year based on either the year that the thing was manufactured or the year that it's mimicking. Or, you see 32 Ford hot rods that are fiberglass bodied that are brand new that are titled as a 1932.
Right.
How'd that happen? I don't know. So I would imagine probably this is the case. But it's interesting because there's so many different variables with titles out there, and you have to be so careful because you can sign in the wrong spot, then that's a whole problem.
That's right.
And
or forget your initial or put an initial like it's a...
Yeah, it has to be signed exactly like it's a legal document. It's the second most important legal document, second most largest purchase document that you would do behind a house.
Yep.
And so you need to be exact on that. And the girls here at our office can tell you exactly what it is you do and don't do when it comes to this. So so once we sell your car, we have clear funds, we call you, you bring us the title, we give you a check. Remember, didn't I say that at the beginning?
And then they buy another car.
Or they can overnight the title to you, for example, and you would overnight the check.
Yeah, and they would do a power of attorney, and we would sign it on their behalf because you don't want it out there floating around with just an open title signed by the seller, because anybody could fill their name in on that. So that's one of the things you have to be very, very careful.
So another protection you remind them to have.
And here's the other thing that happens with titles. So a guy brings us a title, and before we had this other program that we use, we would take the title. It's a negotiable. It's a title. It's a real title, and we take a copy of it, and he takes it home, and then he brings it back when we sell it, and we fill it out to the new owner, and we send it to the new owner. And guess what? It's not the most recent title.
Wow.
There's been either they lost this one and then they got a duplicate and they forgot then they lost the duplicate and found the original, or they forgot that they got a new title, or they changed from Betty Sue to Bob or what.
Hey, it's 2025.
That's right.
Exactly. I didn't really mean it that way.
Right,
I meant husband and wife, or the husband passes away and they get a new title and they forgot that they got a new title. And so we have a program called Vendetta, and that'll actually run that title and say, oh, no, this title on the front of it says it was issued on October 1st, 1980. The newest title in the database says October 1st, 2020. So we don't have the original title. So that's another one of those pitfalls that you have to be so careful of when you sell your car. And that's why we jokingly say, go put it out on Facebook Marketplace and sell it, and go through all the pitfalls and different things that happen, and you'll just be left scratching your head wondering why didn't I just pay Stewart and those guys to do this?
Right. Plus, you have to deal with potential buyers, and they come to your house.
Headache.
That's a headache on its own. Or you meet them somewhere.
If you've ever had a yard sale, you know how that's like. And now multiply that times how many thousands of dollars.
Guy calls you, it's Saturday night, you're out with the wife for dinner, and it's 7 o'clock, and the guy called and said, I want to come see the car right now. You don't want to miss the sale, and you go there, and then what's the guy do? He comes there just to pick it apart and lowball offer you.
Sure.
So
we take that element out of it.
And,
I told you
the
so.
risk of having strangers come to your home.
Yeah, and as Steve said, if you are going to sell your car on your own, meet them somewhere else. Meet them in a well-lit, police parking lot, public spot, whether it's a police department parking lot or somewhere, and there's cameras and all that. Just protect yourself if you do it. Listen, we know that it's not for everybody. Not everybody, as we said earlier, there's some cars that people bring us. It may be a $5,000 car because our commission structure is 10% with a minimum commission of $3,000. So anything that's priced at $30,000 or less is a $3,000 commission. So if you want $15,000 in your pocket, Classic Auto Mall has to sell it for $18,000. Or if it's over $30,000, or if it's you can also do option 2, which is a retail selling price. I want this to be priced at $39,000, and then we take 10% off the top of that. So, but our commission is always really about 10%, except for anything under $30,000, and then it's just a minimum of $3,000. So if you've got a car that's worth $5,000, I really hate to write you a check for 2 and I keep 3. It seems a little unfair to say the least.
Yep.
So I think that with that said, we look at it from an individual standpoint. That's why we like to talk to you ahead of time about your car. We don't want you to drive all the way here from South Philly or from Maryland or Delaware or upstate New York and all of a sudden get here and find out that it's a car not for us, or what you described isn't what you brought, or there's some title issue or all that. So we ask that you kind of check that ahead of time.
Sure.
So was that?
That's good.
Was that good enough?
Pretty much how it goes.
Thank you.
The Classic Auto Mall Show with their host, Stewart Howden.